2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome back once again. This time we're going to be talking about Arturia's CMI V, based on the Fairlight sampler thing that was released in the 80s or 70s even. I don't know much about it. I know that UVI has a sample library based on this, but they don't have an emulation of it. So that's where Arturia swept in, and they're like, you know what, we're going to make an emulation on this. I know Ali James is also working on an emulation for it, but I don't know what his will entail or what it's going to have in it, but Arturia beat him to the punch. And so what we're going to talk about today is Arturia's version, emulation of the CMI V Fairlight, whatever it is. Again, full disclosure to anyone who's just watching this now, I made a video for Arturia's DX7 a couple weeks ago, and one of the commenters in the suggestion left a suggestion that I send Arturia an email saying I'd like to do a video for the CMI V, and would you comp me a not for resale version of it so I can make a video of it? And they were very receptive, and they were cool about it, and they said yes, and they sent me a license-free version of it to fiddle around with. So, full disclosure, I did not pay money for this. So what I'm going to do for you guys today is show you what it's like when there's nothing on the line. They gave me no criteria. They didn't say, well, only if you give us good praise. Like, well, if it's good, I'll give you good praise. If it's bad, I'll give you bad praise. But what I want to do for you guys mainly is show you what it's like if you're not like some weirdo that had one of these back in the day that knows everything about it and can dive right in and be like, this is a perfect emulation. If you're just like me, you know the sounds kind of when you hear it. Like, yeah, I remember that from like a Mr. Mr. album, or I remember these sounds from Ernest Goes to Camp or something, I don't know. But I like to sort of dive back in as sort of like a period piece. Like, I like trying to experience what it was like to make music with these, because there was actually a Reading Rainbow episode where they talked to the composer of the Reading Rainbow show, and he sat down, and that was the first time I remember as a kid that I heard the words synthesizer, and I always thought, like, man, one day I hope I get to fiddle with synthesizers. And at the time it just seemed impossible because it was this huge piece of gear, and even getting an 8-bit Nintendo was a hard thing back then. So imagine getting this like gigantic thing that was tens of thousands of dollars. It just would never happen. So now it's kind of fun thinking back that like now it's emulated on the computer. Now you can have it at your fingertips. So let's look at their GUI. It's kind of, and you can kind of get that inspiration from them, that they would even have like this old wallpaper background, like, this is what it was like, man. This is what it was like to use this back in the day. Does this make clicking sounds? That's cool. That's really cool and really silly. So yeah, they have this, but you don't really need to use this GUI. In fact, I would recommend not using it. I would use this one instead. But this is the way it actually looked back in the day. It was like a weird monochrome green and black thing back in the day. It had its own monitor and stuff. It's really weird. Like, look up some pictures of it back in the day. Really high-tech stuff, and it actually did have a pen that you could draw on the screen back in the day. So that's forward thinking for the early 80s, maybe even the 70s. I don't even know. So let's dive in. This one's going to be a little easier for me than the Buchla Easel V, because this one actually has like sounds you can fiddle with. This is a super common sound. I can't pick a sound out for you, like where it was used, but might sound good with a little reverb on it. Maybe I'll stick with Arturia's brand of reverb. Well, they have Augs here. Do they have their own reverb pad? Yeah, okay. So this is, again, an emulation. But the thing with this emulation, the way you have to picture it so that it's like, obviously you'd be like, listen to this loop. It's choppy, right? That was the way the actual Fairlight was, because space was rare back in those days. We're not even talking in megabytes. We're talking in kilobytes. So you'd have to have this tiny little thing, and in order to get a loop, you could only do like chunks of a certain size because the computer processor inside could not do like infinite gradients. So the way you would picture this is, before the Super Nintendo was out, this was kind of like 10 years before that. this is what Super Nintendo music would sound like really lo-fi samples that had really chopped up loops, and it cost $10,000, if more than that, whereas the Super Nintendo was only like $300 when it came out, and it had similar technology. So that's what you're dealing with. You're talking about like earlier than Super Nintendo, but like a similar concept to the Super Nintendo. But I love this sound. This is like a really usable sound. They have their own... Can you insert delay? Is that the sound from Teen Wolf? I don't know the notes, but like that might be the actual sound from Teen Wolf. And if it isn't, then it's exactly in that wheelhouse. So let's move on. I'm just gonna play some of the sounds here and fiddle as I go. This will be better. Oh my god. This is another just stupidly common sound. This was used in commercials, and it's basically used for flavor, like, you know, at the beat or at the end of a 4 bars, like, you just use one of those. It's fun that it's there. That's why UVI has a sample library for this. So you're like, well, why would I want something that isn't that sample library? Because I actually own that UVI sample library. So I have these sounds, but they're just samples with UVI. They're not something that you can go in and be like, you know what, I wanna start doing weird stuff. Like you can see, you're physically changing the waveform here with their filter. Like, what if we change the sample rate too? You can see it gets a little weird all the way down. That's kind of cool, and I don't know what this is. Yeah, it's one of the weird features this thing has. Yeah. Oh man, I'll show you maybe a patch from scratch. This is actually a really neat feature. So again, separating it, excuse me, from UVI's sample library is that there's actually stuff you can do with this that is software, synthesizer stuff. So again, like I said, I'm not trying to sell you on this, but what I want to do is like inform you so that you can make a decision. A little noisy, a little high in my headphones. I should turn those down. Super Nintendo sound there. So I think a lot of these are the sounds that came stock with the... or they're sounds that, say, for UVI, they would have had as well because they came on the original Fairlight. But I think there's a lot of sounds in their presets that are not from the stock. Do I still have the echo on? Oh no, they got some different stuff going on. Okay, cool. Oh, that's another thing that came with it. It's got some drum samples. But I don't know how to mess with these. I'm sure that was used in Breakin', the movie Breakin'. Ooh, yeah, okay. You got a lot of like little sections here that you can add stuff in. So you got your applause sound, alien sound, and Arctic sound. Sounds familiar. Oh, well, this probably sounds more familiar. There it is. I don't know if the Fairlight actually is where the sound came from, or if it came from the synclavier, and then they just sampled it. But either way, that's the sound. Either way, it's only Arturia that's like letting you fiddle with that. Oh. this is the way their mod matrix works, where you hit one of these, and then you move the thing that you want to be affected by it. Let's try. Okay, so it's already doing it. Velocity is messing with the voice level. So if I make it so like I want the voice level to be less, the little yellow, see if I just hit it light, the line doesn't move, but if I hit it hard, the line goes to the top. So let's move that bigger. Now if I hit it light, the line starts over here. If I hit it harder, it goes all the way up there. I can make that even bigger. Because the only reason I'm showing you this in so much detail right now is because it kind of confused me for a bit when I was fiddling with it. So what I just did there, unclick this, move the voice level all the way to the bottom. Then, okay, so now we're at 0 volume for that sound. Because there's 3 sounds in here, as you can see here. So we're dealing with simple piano spectral. So then if you click map, and you can drag how big you want the range of velocity affecting it to be here. So if you make it all the way, now you have velocity for the entire range. So that's how you would do that here. So it's kind of like backwards. So this is, again, an emulation. So whereas UVI's sort of sample library, or even the samples that are floating around on the internet, they're not emulations. They're just sample libraries, whereas this is kind of an emulation. And with that comes a lot of like little weird stuff. I know this was, I think this was anyways, on one of the original factory banks, but I think this sounds bad. I guess, you know, it kind of sounds like Super Nintendo, like a crappy Super Nintendo game like Wayne's World or something. But yeah, not really something that I like the sound of now. And that's not a knock on Arturia, that's like a knock on when you're dealing with old sample libraries of fun old things, like that's one that just didn't work. Sounds like a soundtrack. Cool. Sure, they have mod wheel mapped to something. Yeah. A weird one. It's not bad. Okay, it's got the sequencer going. Okay. Yeah. It's got the samples here. Yeah, that is gritty. Woo. Gritty sounds. Nah. And you'll have to forgive me a bit. These are also not easy sounds to kind of fiddle with. Like, you hear how that's got a lot of extra weirdness to it? What do you do with that, you know? That's my struggle. That's, you know, that's my problem. Maybe that makes more sense to some of you. But you can be guaranteed that with these sounds, you are going to get sort of the Fairlight version of it, you know? Like, you're going to... It does what the Fairlight could do, and then extra stuff, because you have, like, this whole modulation potential here. So the Fairlight didn't have this, or maybe it did, I don't know. So that's kind of the fun there, is you can you can use it as an emulation, but it has potential that to make stuff that was not doable at the time, but only because of technology, not because the device itself couldn't do it. That's a weird one. I don't need a kick sound. A lot of Super Nintendo games would use a super low string sound for like ambient sort of droning. Yeah, let's add some of our own effects here. Echo going into a reverb. Cool. Let's turn those back off. Jesus. That's not bad. Sequences, jeez. You know me, I don't do good with sequences. I think the original had a lot of weird sounds on it too. Like it was used for sound effects in movies sometimes. Sounds like it could be soundscape potential. Let's try with those effects back on. Nah. Sorry, it's another late night episode, so I'm being a little quiet here. Oh. Bling. See, it's not really much you would do with that these days, but it's fun to fiddle around with. And actually, you know what you could do with it if you really wanted to? Crank the sample rate all the way down. It doesn't sound that much worse. I'm going to try and make this another short episode too, because this wasn't a really fiddleable synth as well. I don't know why that has multiple sounds in it. So I just want to give you guys sort of the rundown here. With the Buchla synth as well, this one and that one, they're niche. This one has a lot more name recognition. People have probably heard of this one before, but they, you know, like I said, it's like a 10-year older version of the Super Nintendo. And this is a pretty, as far as I know, accurate emulation of it. Ooh. Let's add a little sound to that. Maybe turn the echo off. See, no, me, I got chops, but I can't make it work with this. I don't know. These sounds just aren't like, they're not jiving with me. Turn my reverb off. Turn you up. It's not bad. And C. Oh, I didn't even have my effects on that one. Okay, that's kind of a cool one. Beautiful day. Cutoff filter assigned to the mod wheel amp. Okay. Ooh. I like when they add the mod wheel support there. Nope. 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 Oh, where was this one? There we go. Yeah. It's got the... It's not just a loop, it actually goes backward and forward. Both of them. Interesting. That's a good patch. Super Nintendo. Think about it. This is like what the Super Nintendo was. My headphone. Add some of my effects to that. And let's take it down. Too low. Let's go back up and add some more notes. And that's clipping. I ruined it, everyone. I ruined it! Let's get rid of that. I don't know what's going on with that. There's a lot going on with this, you know? There's a lot going on that I don't know how to impart to you what is actually going on. But I like it. I think this is a... I think it has some neat potential to it that is not readily apparent. Hopefully some of it is presenting itself to you while you watch this. Nope. Nope. Is there anyone that likes steel drums? I don't know what I'm looking at here. I'm sure it's very fancy and can do a lot of weird stuff. Some bite to it. That's on the mod wheel, whatever it is. Let me show you. I'll show you how to figure out what's on the mod wheel. Because if you're sold, if you're 100% sold, yeah, this was not readily apparent to me. So go over here to the Assign tab, click on Mod Wheel, and now you can see these two things are assigned to it. So what does that mean, actually? That they only turn on with the Mod Wheel? Maybe that is what that means. Weird that they have Portamento on. What the hell is going on here? Ooh, a lot of weird stuff going on here with the mod wheel. Potential, but yeah, I'm not doing it justice. That sounds like the beginning of Metal Gear Solid. It's not the same chord, but so what's going on here? What are we looking at here? Functions. So you see how these have their own envelopes here, these two, A and B, and then over in Assign, you got the two envelopes, so you can see them going sort of as a slider would. So then you assign these, like this is how you basically assign envelopes to sounds. It's different, but you know, they actually did a really good job of coming up with a different way of coming up with assigning envelopes to things. Like most VSTs, like Silent or something, has like, oh, assign the envelope to this, but it's like you have to do like mental, you have to think about it. You don't actually see it, what it would be affecting. That's pretty good. They're doing some good stuff over there at Arturia, and I'm not just saying that. I wonder how much longer you guys want me to actually do this video, if it's helping or... Alright, start blasting through some of these. Nope. Come on, nope. Nope. No. A little funky. I've had a bit of a cold too. Nose a little stuffed. Doesn't loop. That's odd. That sounds with reverb on it. That's one thing I don't know anything about on this VST, what their arpeggiator looks like, if they even have one. Maybe just a sequencer? Obviously something is going on here, but I don't know what it is. But not too interested. I don't need to find out. Nope. No. 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 Weird FM stuff going on in that one. Sorry, still have my reverb on. My bad. Now it's off. I think they're just fiddling around with the octave sample, but I don't know what's going on there. All right, let's finish it off with just vintage factory sounds. Just blast through a couple of these. These are the ones that were, I guess, on the original. And appear to follow GM standard. That sounds Super Nintendo-like to me. Split? What a weird thing to do. That seems like maybe it's not supposed to be there. Maybe there's already been an update for that. See? That doesn't sound right. I don't think that one has a loop on it. It's playing a higher note. But, what can you do? I'm sure they have a fix for that coming out. Unless it's split. Oh, okay. Here I am besmirching them, but it's just because it's a split. Alright. It's not often that they put the lower one on the top. I wonder why they would do that. Maybe that was the way the original was. I'm curious if this looks like... Oh, well, here, check this out. This is kind of neat. You can scroll through all the original sounds this way. That's neat. But yeah, even messing with the UVI library, I know from experience that these are hard sounds to like fiddle with. They don't. What am I doing with steel drums again? God damn it! Can I edit this? Oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, they're not, these days, they're not very user-friendly sounds, because they sound very niche, because this is a thing that was used so many years ago. But if that's what you're into, this is the right way to go. This is probably the most comprehensive Fairlight sort of emulation that has ever existed. In fact, it is, because it's not a sample library. It's actually trying to emulate what the Fairlight was, which I will commend them for. That is a lofty and noble cause. And there's a lot of people out there that, you know, they would want this exact sound. But yeah, it's a little too far back for me. Like this sound, and even the Synth is a little too far back for me. In terms of, like, I don't know where it was used, but I know it was used in a lot of stuff. But maybe that would help if you knew more about this and where it was used. Then you could be like, yep, that is spot on. But it also lets you fiddle with stuff, so that's kind of cool too. I know there's like a initializing patch, isn't there? Tell me if you can see it somehow. No? Okay, why don't we do this? Init. No initialization. Okay. Well, you know what we're gonna do? Because what I want to do before I wrap this video up is show you the time synth. Okay, so here we go. Time synth by itself doesn't do anything. So what you got to do is click time synth, go to edit, and then you hit the first one. So we're gonna mess with the first one now, and you want to set your loop here. Let's say the loop is at the end, and then you just draw a little envelope in here. No, let's keep that full vol. But that's not a loop. Why is it not looping? Oh, is there like a thing for loop? Oh, you can change the, that's kind of cool. Loops. Where's the heck is the loop? I'm blowing it. I'm trying to show you guys a thing, and then I can't show you the thing. Alright, well, fine. It doesn't loop. But what I can show you is then you add the next bit. So what these are is the partials, I believe. So if I add one that's higher up, it'll sound more high pitch. No? Alright, let's just get crazy. Let's get nutty. It sounds like a steel drum. Let's get a little attack going here. I liked it better with the clang. And then let's add a little reverb, a little It worked out. Not my best work. I'm not here to sell you on this stuff. I just the vid is mostly just to show you guys what it's like to you know, dive in and see what it's like, so that you don't have buyer's remorse. So you can see, like, if anything in there showed you guys like, yeah, that's what I wanted to do with it when I got it, then at least you'd know, and then you could buy it for the right reasons. But yeah, a lot of times these VST review videos to show a guy that's already done some research on it. He's trying to show you how to use it, but that might not be your experience with it when you open it. So this was hopefully a better example of what it would look like for you guys if you're like me. What it's like when you open this thing. Sorry, it's a little low energy. It's late night, as you can see. It's pitch black in here. But I wanted to get these videos out before the sale was up, the Arturia sale, just in case you were doing your research to see if this is what you wanted to buy. There you go. I'm going to try to edit these and put them up, but you won't have a lot of time before the deal's up, but, you know, you skim through these vids, see if it sounds right. Other than that, more stuff on the way. I'm going to try and make more videos now. I got a good setup, so more videos coming. If you have any suggestions, definitely tell me, because I don't know what the heck I'm doing, and I'm just randomly spamming stuff out there. So yeah, let me know. Comment and subscribe, and have an excellent night, everyone. Goodbye.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. We'll see you guys next time. Feel free to subscribe to this channel.